Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is we've been had, hoodwinked, and bamboozled. Normally, I try to go into an analogy explaining the title of my video, but this time I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm watching this MSNBC special the other day, hosted by Jonathan Capehart. He's celebrating the LGBTQ Pride Month. Now, let me qualify this with this statement here. There isn't a time I can see Al Sharpton on TV without him dedicating some time to thanking the LGBTQ movement, mentioning gays, or some other group of whatever, and whatever accomplishment he so-called make. Even during George Floyd's conviction, he's thanking the LGBTQ and all this others. And when I watched this MSNBC special, this guy sat up here for almost an hour, and I couldn't stomach watching the whole episode. But the good portion that I did watch, he did not mention Al Sharpton's name not one time. He didn't collaborate with anybody else. This was all about the LGBTQ. See, the fact of the matter is this. Al Sharpton, he's a media hound. He wants to take pictures, he wants to be seen. And these other entities, organizations, they'll help you march, they'll help you protest, they'll help you do whatever it is that Al Sharpton want to do, but they will not help him organize. And when I watched this guy sit up here on national TV talking about how many hundreds of people they have in position, how many outed LGBTQ members they have in the Senate and Congress, it's a total different approach from what Al Sharpton been doing. And you have to have some type of gut punch, some kind of sick feeling in your stomach when you see every time you march, they march. Every time you protest, they protest. But then when they get to a certain point where they don't need you no more, now their true agenda comes out. They never bought into marching and protesting and putting their fate in somebody else's hands. This man sat up here on national TV saying that they want LGBTQ members at every table because the lives and rights and privileges of LGBTQ people should be determined by people within the community. They not putting their fate in nobody else's hands, like Joe Biden and James Clyburn, Al Sharpton. Here you are campaigning for Joe Biden. Then once he get in office, he don't even talk to you. Have Joe Biden sit up here after James Clyburn endorsed him, pulled his campaign out of the fire. Joe Biden turns right around and say, I don't owe the black community nothing. You think the LGBTQ is going to sit back and after watching you do this, they're going to say, oh, that's good. Let us do that too. No. Al Sharpton is happy with just the first black to do this, the first black to do that. They talking percentages. They're talking about having a presence at every table that govern over their lives. They're not sitting back letting other people make laws that could affect them. They having their people in position to make the laws that affects them. Al Sharpton ain't nowhere near doing the same thing for our people as the LGBTQ is doing for theirs. You take Kamala Harris' name out of the civil rights movement, and 30% of whatever they accomplish is washed away. You know, this man has got to be removed from office. I'm not saying get rid of him totally, but he can't be the leader no more. And I don't normally tag nobody in my videos. I put my opinions out here, and I just for anybody to listen. But I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make a poignant effort that Al Sharpton get a win to this, because I want to hear his rebuttal to this. I want to hear what he had to say when he sat there and watched that special, because I know he did. You know, I had a friend of mine. She was asking me, um, Jonathan, how did you get like this? You wasn't always like this, being so pro-black and to the point where I'm making videos and all that. And I say, you know what? The thing is, um, I've always been somewhat pro-black, but it really turned when I started having kids. And when I started seeing when it was really important for me to not only get but keep a job, and when I seen the things that I had to go through to keep a job because now I have children to raise, that shifted my mentality. You know, Al Sharpton, he's been leading our people and standing over their children. And he still haven't changed his urgency or his plan. He's still marching. He's still sitting back, letting other people make decisions for his followers. The LGBTQ is not doing that. You know, and just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, I remember when I was working for this company in Detroit, and we had a drivers meeting, and we had to come to work an hour earlier for this gathering. Now here it is, 4 o'clock in the morning. As I'm on my way to the meeting, the manager calls me into his office, and he was like, "Jonathan, you know, are you happy working here?" And I'm sitting there, "You called me here for this?" "Well, when you come in the door, you're never smiling. You don't seem happy. Aren't you happy working here?" I say, look here, bro. I said, you want to make me happy? You want to see a smile on my face? Pay me 20 plus an hour, and I'll come here smiling every day. I said, this job don't pay nothing but $17 an hour. I said, the only reason why I'm working here is because the other job that was paying $17 an hour was further away from here. I said, I don't get emotionally attached to jobs, because I know if a man walked through that door and offered to do the same thing I did for a nickel less, I'd be out of here. So no, I'm not coming to work smiling and grinning, and my job can be taken from me at any minute. From that moment on, it was a shift in their in the presence I felt in that company. My immediate manager had already told me that he was already getting my paperwork prepped for me to be hired in permanently. This was before my 90 days. He also told me that he had a couple of guys working there well beyond their 90 days, but they're still not sure about. He was telling me all about other drivers getting drunk on the job. They can't do this, they can't do that, tearing the roof off of one trailer, you know. And I'm saying to myself, all I gotta do is hang in there for 90 days. I'm in. But when I talked to that manager, and Next thing I know, now well, you're back late. I said, well, I don't know. I'm new here. I don't know where all the buildings are at. Well, they're not hard to find. Putting pressure on me. And just the conversation is all it took to jeopardize my job, which was taken from me. I go home, I get a phone call. Your assignment has been terminated. Don't go back there. And this is one of the main reasons why I am the way I am. Because it's not just the physical vulnerability black people have when we have to be out here in the world. It's all the things that surrounds us. They can touch us in any different way they want to. And we don't get organized around any of them. Only thing we focus on is how they're killing us. Here they hit you with illegal chokeholds. So now Al Sharpton want to ban chokeholds. How many times have we seen our people crying they can't breathe? And you still want to try to pass legislation as opposed to being like the LGBTQ, putting people in position, not just one, they're talking percentages, so that the rights and privileges of their community is protected. Kamala Harris cannot do that by herself. One individual at a time cannot do that by themselves. You need a presence there. Permission should not be able to be asked or granted without somebody within our community knowing about it, being able to stop it. This is what leadership is, evolving over time. We cannot keep doing things the old way. I just took my car to the shop, and the man told me, don't put regular oil in your car. Always use synthetic. It's old oil, that was back in the day, 100 years ago. Now engines are made with synthetics, so don't use it no more. I can understand that. You wouldn't build a house the same way today you did 100 years ago. You wouldn't do anything other than maybe cook, sew, whatever. Everything else around the world changes, but the civil rights movement has not. And for this guy to have this special and say we only have 8%, they're not satisfied with that. But you get Al Sharpton, they get one black person in a position, and they it's victory. It's victory. And one is nowhere near enough. Soon as Kamala Harris left the Senate and became Joe Biden's vice president, now we don't have no black women in the Senate. And there's nobody black slated to take her position. This man sat up here on national TV talking about the LGBTQ, and they got transgenders, all variations of gays in critical positions in the White House. And you think they sitting up there just focusing on doing their job? They are there to safeguard and protect their way of life. They are not putting their fate in the hands of no one else. And what is Al Sharpton doing? Somebody need to talk to this man and get him, either you get with the program, modernize your strategy, or it's time for you to step aside. You know, our children's fate lies in our hands. You know, I don't mind my children making mistakes, but they can't make the same mistakes that I've made in my life. If I'm not teaching them to avoid the hurdles that I had to go through, I'm not doing them a service as a father. I'm not doing them as a service as a mentor, a brother, or uncle. This is why I am the way I am. I don't want my children to be able to have to go through, jump all the hurdles just to put food on their table. Here, um, Phil Mickelson came to Detroit, had a tournament. He came, showed up. The News of Free Press, one of the newspapers, ran an article that he was a part of some 20 years ago. Phil Mickelson took offense to it and said, "I'm not coming back to Detroit no more." You see, when white people get offended, when white people don't get what they want, they can just take their ball and leave. But let Phil Mickelson have been black, and the article was brought up that he didn't like. He'll be begging to stay. Why? Because he got nowhere else to go. And as long as we don't have an alternative, we're going to always be like that. We're going to always feel we can't leave. We got to stay. They have to drag us kicking and screaming to get us out of here, as opposed to just building our own. You know, the LGBTQ, when he started talking about his agenda, the percentages, and the outed gay members in Congress in different key areas, making laws, not just following laws. They're gonna put their people in position to make laws to enhance and protect their way of life. It's clear that the LGBTQ never bought in to what Al Sharpton was doing. That was never their end game. And Al Sharpton thinking that this is one big happy family. But the LGBTQ, their goal is never to live in peace with everybody else. That's not their objective. The LGBTQ movement is committed to one thing: the continued protection of gay members of their society. And how they do that is by assimilating people from other societies. They don't look to live with you. They look to absorb you into their community. They want this gay movement here after they're gone. And they're putting their people in position to make laws to protect them even after they're gone. One person is not going to do it. We are fighting a losing battle. You cannot protest, march, boycott, beg, and at the end of the day, at the end of your efforts, the same people who put you in this position, it's the same people that's still in position. You think you're going to have another person come in and replace all them gays that they got in the White House now? Their strategy is not only to keep what they got, but to expand it. And my man said they're the first LGBTQ members, and they will definitely not be the last. If we don't get our act together and stop getting angry and start getting organized, they're going to be the ruling party telling us what to do. We need to get organized around not only our protection, but the vulnerabilities in all aspects of our life. Our jobs, our employment. Here you can get a ticket on your license, and the insurance company can charge you for 5 years extra for that. Jobs, it'll be on your record for 5 years after that, holding you back. You know, um, here we got to get organized around the punishment. Our people are being arrested, locked up, incarcerated, and they throw away the key, and we ain't got no faction whatsoever to tender or manage how we being punished. You know, LGBTQ. My man said this is what it's like being seen and heard. They're not there just for show. They're not there just for show. Name me a black organization that's doing anything near as progressive as this gay movement is doing. You can't watch a commercial. You can't go to a movie, a TV show, anything without seeing some gay scene. I remember years ago, um, that Michael Douglas movie. I forget the name of it. It was a lesbian scene or whatever. They was giving away the ending at the premiere. They had gays there telling the end of the movie to prevent people from going because it was putting a bad light on gays. You can't take a step anywhere without stepping on some gay agenda. The black movement has been around twice as long as LGBTQ. And you don't see nobody talking about how blacks should be owning their own businesses, owning their own industries, pooling our resources, controlling our economics, establishing economic floors, setting our own barriers. Stop trying to build your careers in places that have plateaus or levels that you got to break through, and build your own where you don't have these built-in encumbersome. This is not hard. This is not rocket science. Science, just build your own. If it's so hard to compete, you don't get a fair shake. You get limited resources, limited access. You got to wait for permission just to put food on your table. This is not hard. Just build your own and be done with it. You know, I can't comment on on Facebook without being kicked off. But you have some of the filthiest things come out of these white people's mouths. And it's up there for everybody to see. But soon as somebody like me respond to it, I get kicked off. Where in your right mind do grown people have to be sent to their room for 30 days or 15 days and then allowed to come back and play? I mean, are we really doing this in 2021? We have got to get organized around every aspect of our way of life. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It's not about just getting angry. It's not about just getting marching and protesting. We have got to get organized. And Al Sharpton, you have shown me over your 30, 40 years or however long you've been doing this, that you are not the man for this job. You have a lot of historical knowledge, historical content that can be beneficial, but you are not the person for leadership. Look at the national, or what is it, the Black Caucus that's in Washington. What do they do? Here you have the George Floyd Act, Voting Rights Act. You can't even get the people to pass the anti-lynching bill. That's been in there for years. What is the Black Caucus doing? What is the NAACP doing? What are they there for? Where is our visual presence? The commercials, the movies, the TV shows, showing black people, black love, black pride, building black businesses, living in an environment of self-determination, living in a pre-slaved existence. Everything we do is to validate what whites have done for us or what done to us. This is just an existence. We can build our own. This is white people plan or vision on how we live. This isn't our plan. But everything we do keep us within the margin that whitey have already carved out for us. They'll sit up here and tell you that they want to be your friend, they want us to get along, they want us to get together. As long as you don't own your own businesses and control your own interests, we can get along. But as soon as you start talking about building your own, establishing your own communities, then you're going to have a problem. We can't keep going on like this. And while these LGBTQ members, they keep putting more and more people in office. Soon as and the football player that came out, his jersey sale went to #1. They fund their agenda. Only thing we're funding is plane tickets and bus fare to go from one city to the next. Just to protest. We're not building any businesses, any industries, nothing. We're not putting multiple people in office, multiple people in key segments and key areas to make laws, not try to change. Just make laws. Because they're not going to change. These white people are not going to change. There's no white person, I don't care who you think they are not going to systemically dismantle all the advantages and privileges they have just to share with you. Do you honestly believe that? They're going to tear down all their advantages and start over from scratch. Do you honestly believe that? We have got to fund our own movement. Put our money where our anger is. Because this is not just for show. Just like my man said, this is what it's like to be seen and heard. And when you put your people in key position, you can sit up here on national TV and brag about your accomplishments and threaten that there's more to come. So I'm going to end this video here. And if you like this message, please share it. And if you like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And I'll see you in my next message. Ashe.